It's always a refreshing session to get some work in on a deload, especially after going as heavy as I did, especially given my historical limits with squats. I was really kind of pushing the envelope on some of the weights that I was hitting, but it still, didn't wasn't too taxing on me. I was didn't feel too sore or anything over the weekend or through Monday either, but it just felt nice to do 255 and just kind of cruise along at that weight for squats. So nice little recovery day. I gave some more thought as to what I was thinking over on Saturday in regards to my shoulder, which I am more than positive I did not tear, as I've been kind of writing a little bit and just kind of feeling things over. I think I just kind of tweaked it a little bit. I did some overhead press today and then some Romanian deadlifts. And to be honest, I had a little bit of discomfort during the Romanian deadlifts, but it's just soreness. It's not. I still have full range of motion. Nothing kind of feels restricted or limited. It's just sore, and I think I just had too much weight, too much time loading with bench and everything, and just kind of really wore it out. So I am going to take a break from bench for a while and do some hypertrophy work with my chest and my shoulders. I did end up doing some overhead press today just to kind of see how it felt and just kind of feel things out and make a judgment based on that. And it was pretty okay. I ended up doing 102.5 pounds. I broke out some change plates that I bought a while ago, which are sitting right now in those dumbbells on top of the boxes at a 22.5 pounds, just to kind of bridge gaps between like a 20 and 25 pound dumbbell. Trying to make jumps like that can suck for some exercise, especially with curls, because that's some you really want to aim for like maybe 5-10% jump in weights and not 25 sometimes. And so those change plates make it a little bit easier to kind of make that climb. So they come in handy. Probably one of the more versatile purchases that I've made. But, overall, just a relaxing workout to do. I played with the 255 a bit, definitely focusing on keeping my stance a little bit narrower, that I rediscovered about myself on Saturday, and worked on keeping the bottom position solid. Did a little pause squat right there on the last rep, and it's something that I thought about before, and that Ivan Jurek mentioned in one of his most recent videos, that when you're able to pause a weight for really any amount of time, to sit down in the bottom of that rep and then hold that position and then push it up, you've conquered that weight. And it just feels nice, especially after as grinding of a week as I had last week, getting through things. I don't know if I could pause any of the weights that I was doing then. Maybe by itself and doing nothing else, but yeah, it just feels nice. I know I've paused heavier weights than 255, but after all the work I put in, it's just a good little change of pace. Going into the overhead press, nothing too crazy here. Just, wrapping it out. My right shoulder didn't really feel any discomfort, and I didn't wear my wrist wrap today just because my wrist is feeling better and better, day in, day out, but it's still just kind of creeping along that line of not fully recovered, but good enough. And I don't want to push it too hard and risk any sort of like re-injury or anything. So just kind of taking it easy. These reps felt good as I was doing them. I believe in the last set might have been a moment where I had to stop and just kind of catch my breath for a second. I was limiting my rest time to see about playing with that, with the weights and everything, and how that would feel. So I was only doing 90 seconds rest between these sets, as opposed to about 2 minutes as I had been doing, or 3 minutes with the attempts at 120 that I was trying. So just kind of playing around, see what sticks, and seeing what sort of benefit or improvement I could get from this. I think that if the overhead press does get to be too taxing, I'll probably phase it out and do things like an Arnold press, some seated dumbbell pressing, some behind the back arm raises, some lateral arm raises. Something to just kind of like work on building overall muscle mass as opposed to strength for a little bit of time. Just because this is overhead press is one of those that it takes either an enormous amount of repetition working this exercise to be able to maintain any sort of gains that have been had, but it also takes a lot more than what I'm doing to make gains. So to be able to really kind of grow in the exercise, you almost have to press like 2 or 3 times a week, every single week, to be able to really sort of improve off of this. And I'm really not in the shape to do that right now with my shoulder being tweaked. I would love to, because I do want to be able to improve my overhead press. And to be honest, it's nice having like nice looking traps, especially after a workout like this. They had a really nice pump to them. But it's just a side goal. Things I've just been working on as I'm trying to push my squat and my deadlift up. You know, bench and bench and overhead press aren't like the number one priority. Going into Romanian deadlifts, did these for 255 for 5 sets of 5. And to be honest, I think I might just keep it at this weight. This didn't feel overly heavy, didn't feel overly easy. So I really kind of like how this felt, and I felt like I got a good amount of work out of it. Nothing that were kind of slammed my hamstrings too hard, or nothing that kind of felt like my hands were going to rip off doing them. You know, maybe it might stand to benefit growing up like 5 pounds or something, but for the time being, I think 255 is good enough. So I'll be doing this for a few weeks and see how things feel afterwards. I am definitely feeling like my hamstrings are getting more and more stretched out, and I'm getting a better response from them in my deadlifts. So seeing slow benefits. I could probably work on incorporating some hamstring specific work, like doing hamstring curls or something along that line, but I feel like this has more carryover to a deadlift as opposed to just getting overall strength. This is more about honing the movement that's involved with kind of hitting that hip hinge position with a barbell in hand. There's just kind of more to it than just kind of building out the muscle. It's learning how to utilize it. And again, I mean, these are looking fairly solid. There's not a whole lot of knee bend. It's all hinging at the hips. I usually try to focus on making sure that I feel some hamstring stretch when I'm doing these, because if I don't, I'm either 1, not using my hamstrings, or 2, not doing enough to get any sort of adequate response from my legs from this. And something I need to kind of keep in mind as I'm going through. One thing I was also trying to keep in mind as I'm doing this was just work on getting the position low when I'm starting for my deadlift. To start these reps, I could easily take these off of the safety bars for the squat rack, but I figured, hey, I'm not doing any deadlifts on this day, so at least let me pick the weight up and get something out of that. Just because sometimes picking it up off of the safety bars and then doing Romanian deadlifts kind of makes the weight feel heavier than it is, instead of just picking it up and going, oh, it's only 255 pounds, So there's a method to the madness. But these felt really good. And just kind of looking at my positioning, my back is nice and flat. A lot of bend at the hips as those are forcing back, and the knees are staying relatively unbent. And it's mostly just focusing on drawing that position from the hips and the hamstrings. So overall, great session, very relaxing compared to how things have gone over the past couple weeks, and looking forward to resuming things on Thursday.